Hello everyone and welcome to the new Coach Dev Academy Lab Guide. I'm Corentin Guinez, drive for Simmercy, and today we are here around Suzuka, a wet Suzuka for this week 7 into the Fat Car Inter Sports Car Challenge. As you can see, we're using the Porsche 708 GT4. As usual, first I will go with the hot lap and then we will get into the details about this rainy combo. So yep, let's get started. Alright everyone, so here we go for that around Suzuka. So as you can see, we just crossed the start finish line earlier and we are heading into turn 1. So for turn 1, basically I don't think there is much difference in the fast part compared to the dry. The only thing is that, of course, instead of braking near the exit road on the left, you need to brake at the 100. At least that's what I'm doing. Because I think that if you are braking later than that, you arrive with too much speed. And then, considering you are going to drive a bit into the rubber, with the other speed, you're just going to understeer too much and you will get out of the track. So I'm just slowing down around the 100, which is on the left side. And as you can see from there, I'm just going on the brake, trying to slow down the car as much as I can. And then I will just try to bring the car to the outside. I can use a bit of curb on the left, but ideally you don't want to use that much curbing. So yeah, you can use it most of the time. You are going to use it because with the speed you have, it's really tricky to not going over the curb. But yeah, to be fair, this turn one is really difficult because you arrive with a lot of speed. You want to carry a lot of speed because on the dry you can carry a lot of speed. So this one is really difficult. Overall, this track is really difficult because it's pretty much a single line. It's quite narrow at first, and every corner is a bit single line. You don't really have many lines you can use. Like yeah, it's quite narrow, so it doesn't give you much room to avoid the rubber, I would say. So yeah, it's quite difficult track overall. But yeah, into turn 1, um, as you will see on Delta, and this is something usual, like just try to use a slightly different line. This is not turn 1 actually, this is turn 1. So yeah, we are just trying to use slightly different lines. In 2001 it's not really different actually, like I said. So the only difference really is that you are braking much earlier than that. And then of course you are trying to reduce the brake pressure to really optimize the rotation, especially in the rubber part. If you stay for too long on the brakes, you are just going to get more and more understeer. So this is the reason why you're releasing more the brakes there. So this is also the reason why you're braking earlier. But yeah, then of course you are just trying to go a bit wider in the second one. But apart from that, it's quite similar. So on the brakes, just around, I would say 60%, 70%, between 60 and 70. And then you just play around with the brakes, a tiny bit of curbing, but as you can see, the car didn't move too much. And then dropping to second, trying to get a good exit on power, trying to make sure I can optimize the traction by opening a bit the steering, playing around with the steering on the way out. And then we are already starting to get into the DSS. So I think for the first part, I'm just going slightly on the brakes. As you can see, slightly on the brakes. For the right one, slightly on the brakes as well. So for most of for, like in every entries into DSS, I'm going slightly on the brakes. As you can see, this is something I'm doing pretty much everywhere. So yeah, you can use a bit of braking in front of each of the SS corner. So it's just about between 20 and 30% it looks like. So it's not a lot of braking. It's just about putting the car in the right line, getting a bit of rotation on the way in as well. But yeah, of course, as you can imagine, you are not you don't arrive with a massive amount of speed on the way in. So it's not really to slow down a lot the car. It's just to get some rotation here and there. So as you can see, bit of braking. I think I dropped to third. I don't think I'm putting second actually. As you can see, just running alongside the curbing. Same for this one. A bit of braking. Then I'm just really playing around with the throttle. It's gonna be the same for this one as well. A bit of braking on the way in. And then same, just trying to run alongside the curbing. Just make sure, of course, you are not running too deep on the curbing. But of course, if you can run really alongside the curbing, it has some decent grip, especially into this one. If you don't run alongside the curb on this one, you lose a lot of grip. So by running really close to the curbing, it gives you more grip. And then of course, it helps you to get the exit tighter. So it helps you to get into this one. So yeah, then same approach, a bit of braking on the way in, then just playing around with the throttle, trying to make sure I'm not getting out too wide of this one. Then I will bring the car to the right side, just trying to find the less rubber part of the track. And then, as you can see, bit of braking on the way in, and then I'm playing around with the throttle on the way out. So yeah, this is pretty much what you should do in DSs. There is nothing particular you have to know really. Like the racing line is not so different compared to the dry. As you can see, I'm cutting a bit more in the first part of DSs, but then as you can see, the yellow line does match pretty much the yellow line, which is the dry, is quite close, except maybe this last part as well, where I can stay a bit tighter on dry. But apart from that, it's quite similar. And then the last corner of DSs, of course, I need to go slightly wider on the wet. But yeah, apart from that, it looks quite the same in most of the corners. Of course, you have a few corners where it's different, but yeah, overall in the first part, it's not really different. So yeah, this is the first third of the track, I would say. Then we will get into, I think this one is Degner, I believe. For this one, we will use the 100 as a braking reference. So it's pretty much the same as turn one. You just try to brake earlier, so then you can have a better speed going into the corner, considering it's the same. It's one of the corner where you just have one line. Like you have many corners like DS's. It's quite it's a bit wider, so it's easier to like adapt a bit the line if you have to drive wide to avoid the rubber. In a corner like this, a kink like this, fast, quite narrow, especially on the exit where it gets tighter, it's just almost impossible to use a different line. So what you can do, and what I'm trying to do into this one, is that at first I'm braking at the 100, and then I just try to get out of the rubber a tiny bit before the actual corner. So as you can see, it feels like I'm turning in really early, but it actually helps me to get some grip around there because I'm running a tiny bit less into the rubber. So I guess the right, oh, you cannot see the, if I do this, I'm on the other screen, sorry. If I'm just maybe getting a bit of non-rubber with the right tires, I think I'm getting a bit more grip, which actually helps me a lot to take this kink. So this is why I'm trying to get out of the line a bit before the corner, so then um, I get a bit of grip just before the kink, and yeah, then I can stay on the line on the way out without getting wide. So yeah, this is what I'm doing. So as you can see, the braking is actually this pretty much on the dry line, but as you will see on Delta, the only difference, wait, it's I'm lost. Okay, it's this one right here. Yeah, you can see I'm just turning in slightly before, and you can see it even better there actually. You can see that I'm turning in a bit before, so then this means I can basically get the grip here, and yeah, then I'm pretty much doing the same into the next corner. So as you can see on the brakes at the 100, braking around 50%, getting out of the line, getting a bit of grip around there, and just right here I'm getting the grip. So then it helps me actually to get the apex. So as you can see, I'm cutting a decent amount, but by cutting a decent amount, I'm still with the right tires on the part which is a bit less rubbered, I would say. So yeah, it helps me actually to just stay tighter into the corner and not going too wide, because of course if you end up going on the curbs with the wet, it's going to be really tricky. So this is the thing around this kink. You have to know basically. It's the same approach for this one. This one is also really tricky. So yeah, we'll see that just after this one. But yeah, out of the curbing, then just going on power, and then as you can see, I try to get slightly out of the curbing, and then I would go on the brake, down to second, still trying to use a bit of non-rubber on the right, and then trying to slow down the car, getting the curb on the inside, and then as you can see, just trying to open the steering. I just try to put the right wheels on the track, keep the right wheels on the track, and the left wheels basically on the dark green just alongside the curb. So this is what I'm aiming for when going out of this corner. But yeah, this one is really tricky. Like I said, it's like it's not the corner you are going to go like straight, trying to avoid all the water. So it's really difficult this kind of corner, because um it's a 90-degree corner. So basically most of the time, yeah, if you are not going to go like that far away, like take an even sharper corner maybe, and yeah, it's really difficult, those two corners. So yeah, it's like I said, it's not an easy track overall. So yeah, down to second, taking the curb, then back on power, trying to open the steering as early as I can, so then I can go flat, and then we will go into the hairpin. So as you can see, just going for the inside at first, and then just opening the steering when I will go on the braking. So as you can see, opening the steering on the brakes, just braking right after, like just after driving slightly on the curb, even if you don't really need to drive on the curb, but like pretty much near the end of the curbing on the right side. This is where I'm putting the brakes. So just opening the steering, going on the brake, and then I just try to brake on the left where the rubber is less important, I would say. Then, as you can see, just trying to slow down the car as much as I can, trying to keep it tight. As you can see, EV braking zone, because I'm braking at 78%. Like, it's not massive compared to the dry where I'm reaching 100, but yeah, it's a big braking for the rain, of course. On the rain you are braking less, so yeah, this is a big braking, at least for the wet. And then as you can see, I'm quite a lot off the line compared to the dry, but then on the exit it's pretty much, it's about the same. So I just try to stay tight on the way out, and then I just try to quickly open the steering to optimize the traction. Then, as you saw, I'm just trying to go slightly wider, because on the inside of this one, which is the next corner, you have some less rubber part. You have less water, it seems, on the inside. So that's why I'm trying to go wide there. So then it helps me to get this inside easier. So this is what I'm trying to do, because if you stay all the way on the inside, you won't have the same grip, as you can imagine, and you will just struggle a bit to stick to the inside. So that's why I'm going a bit wider on the way in. So yeah, then getting the inside, and I will stay for just for the part before spoon. I will just stay on the left to avoid any standing water or potential standing water on the inside that make you lose some grip, of course. And then approaching spoon, I'm just braking quite a lot before my dry reference, which is the exit road. As you can see, I'm maybe 10 meters, 15 meters away from the exit road, and I'm already releasing the power. I will get on the brakes, as you can see, and then I will just drop down to third for that one. So yeah, as you can see, it doesn't look like it's that big difference. Of course it's less than turn one, but yeah, you still have a good maybe 10 meters difference. So yeah, need to brake earlier for that one. Of course, as you can see, I'm just staying in the middle of the track. I'm not trying to go too much on the right side to avoid losing the grip. And then I just try to slow down the car as much as I can in the fast parts. I'm not trying to carry too much speed, because then if I end up going wide, it will really compromise the run around spoon. So I'm just trying to slow down the car as much as I can. And once the car is slowed down and has the grip on the inside, then I can push again, go on throttle, run alongside the curb but without touching the curb. And then once the curb is going to end, then I can slow down again. I think I'm dropping second for that one. Yeah, dropping second, and then I can just work on my exit for the exit of spoon. So as you can see, dropping to third, I'm not going too deep on the brakes, I guess, just about 67% or something. Yeah, just between 65 and 70%. And then as you can see, trying to slow down the car as much as I can, and then back on power, trying to bring the car to the outside. So bringing the car to the outside, and then close to the end of the curbing, I will just go back on power. As you can see, it's a really small braking. It's just about 40%, but I'm quickly raising the brakes, dropping to second, and then on power, it gives me the rotation. As you saw, as soon as I've put the power, I gained some rotation, then just try to stick to the inside without going over the curb, and then I will quickly short shift to third to get the traction, and then we will head into the 130R. So the approach will be pretty much the same. I'm just going to brake earlier, so I'm going to brake at the 100, and then same as the kink at Degner, I'm just going to go slightly off the line a bit before the corner, so then I can get the grip. So at the 100, releasing the throttle, I will go on the brake, trying to slow down the car, and as you saw, I'm just going a tiny bit off the line, trying to get the grip with the left tires, cutting the inside. So as you can see, I'm cutting a fair amount of the inside, and then as you can see, I'm trying to just stay. You can see that it's tough to see, even myself it's tough to see, but yeah, I'm just trying to not drive on the dry line on the way out, and I guess you can see it just right here. Like I'm staying a bit tighter, I guess, especially around there. But and yeah, here as well, you can see that of course I'm taking pretty much the same line on the dry. The only difference is that you cannot, of course, get the same amount of grip on the inside. But yeah, I'm trying to stay as tight as I can. But yeah, naturally, I guess maybe it takes into account the real life, and I guess real life they don't use as much as we do the inside of the 130R. So so yeah, this is why maybe we are using less rubber. But yeah, then trying to stay tight, trying to not go too wide, and then for the last corner, I'm just braking slightly after getting by the 150. I think I'm braking just after the 150 on the dry. I'm doing pretty much the same on the wet. The only difference is that I'm braking like in the middle of the track, because if I drive on the normal line, I'm going to lose the grip. So so yeah, I just brake right in the middle of the track, but the braking distance is pretty much the same. Getting by the 150, going under brake, going down to fourth, third, and now to second, and then just releasing the brakes, getting the curb on the inside. By the way, I'm braking around 80% peak or close to it. Yeah, I would say between 60 and 75%. But yeah, the peak is 75 close. So so yeah, then jumping to second, getting the curb on the inside, as you can see, trying to stay a bit tight on the way out because I want to make sure I put most of the steering angle at first, going into the left, so then I can really open the steering on the way out. As you can see, really opening the steering on the exit and manage to get it tight as well on the way out. So then I can just like drop back to the right, so then I can use all of the inside, which has a lot less water. So so yeah, this is what I'm aiming for going into the, um, the last corner. I mean, from the last part of the chicane until the very last right-hander. So so yeah, as you can see, a bit of braking just before the chicane, then cutting quite a lot of the curbing into the last chicane. And then, as you can see, just keeping a margin from the right side. So then I can just drop back to the right using um, all of this part, which has less water, it looks like. And yeah, then we are just making the run to the start finish line, and we are done with the lap around Suzuka. Alright everyone, so we're done for today. That was the week 7 lap guide of the Falcon Tire Sports Car Challenge around a rainy Suzuka with the Porsche 718 GT4. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Coach Dive Academy channel and join the Discord server if you have any questions about all the work we're making each week. And yeah, I see you next week for the week 8. See you next time. Bye bye.